side, this is what people expect to see at Arlington National Cemetery. Seemingly endless rows of uniform grave markers, perfectly aligned, horizontally, vertically, and diagonally. Grave markers are from the Veterans Administration. They're made of Vermont marble. They weigh 230 pounds and are provided no cost to the service member or their families. On the driver's side, you see private markers that are paid for by family and friends of the deceased. As of December 2017, we no longer allow the installation of private markers due to space and cost of maintenance concerns. In March of 1963, President John F. Kennedy made an unannounced visit to Arlington National Cemetery. He stood on the lawn in front of the Arlington House, looked out over the cemetery in the city of Washington. In a low voice, he was heard to say, "It's so beautiful, I could stay here forever." 8 months later, assassinated in Dallas, Texas, the family of Massachusetts. When Mrs. Kennedy was told of those words spoken here, those plans were changed, and that is why President John F. Kennedy is at Arlington National Cemetery forever. At the bottom of the hill in front of us, on the driver's side, I want you to look up that walkway to the crest of the hill. On the right side, in a grove of trees, is the final resting place of Captain Robert Todd Lincoln. He was the only child of President Abraham Lincoln to survive to adulthood. Served on the staff of General Ulysses S. Grant during the Civil War. Later served as Secretary of War and Ambassador to the Court of St. James. Robert Todd Lincoln laid to rest here with his wife Mary and their only son, Abraham Lincoln II. Now, on the passenger side of the vehicle, Section 5 has justices from the Supreme Court, including William Rehnquist, Warren Burger, Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. Now, the father of the nuclear navy here, Admiral Hyman Rickover. Now, I want you to look behind the large marker that says Weeks, has 2 built-in benches. Look to the right and behind it, you'll see a tall black mark with a Star of David on top for Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Directly behind the Weeks Memorial in the last row center, a dark gray marker for Justice Thurgood Marshall, first African-American justice on the Supreme Court. You can see the Arlington House on the passenger side. Below it, the low gray curved wall is the gravesite of President John F. Kennedy with the eternal flame. Next to President Kennedy, First Lady Jacqueline. They are flanked by their 2 infant children. Nearby we have his brothers Robert and Edward, and a memorial marker for their brother Joe Jr., killed in action over the skies of Europe during World War II. His body was never recovered. Now we're coming into our stop for President Kennedy's gravesite with the eternal flame. I'm going to ask you to remain seated until he comes. First African-American 4-star general in the United States military. Was a Tuskegee Airman. He flew missions in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Now coming up on the driver's side is an equestrian memorial. We only have 2 in the cemetery. This one for Field Marshal Sir John Dill. He was our emissary from Great Britain during World War II. He's one of roughly 60 foreign nationals here at Arlington Cemetery. Going up through the heart of Section 2. Section 2, we have Hollywood starlet Maureen O'Hara. She was the star of the original Miracle on 34th Street. She co-starred with John Wayne in 5 of his movies. She is here because her husband was an Air Force general. In our nation's history, we've had a total of 9 5-star generals and admirals. 5 are here at Arlington National Cemetery. In Section 2, we have Admiral William Leahy, the first 5-star officer, and Admiral William Bull Halsey, Fleet Admiral in the Pacific during World War II. George Westinghouse served in the Union Army and Navy during the Civil War. Better remembered for his work with electricity. His corporate motto was, "You can be sure if it's Westinghouse." Now on the driver's side, if you look down to the crest of the hill, you'll see huge oak trees, and under those oak trees are 4 oversized markers. That is Chaplain's Hill. You have chaplains from every major denomination, every branch of the service from the 20th and 21st centuries represented here. Section 7, coming up on the driver's side, is the final resting place of 5-star General George C. Marshall. He's Chief of Staff during World War II, Secretary of State, and Secretary of Defense for President Harry S. Truman. He was the principal architect of the Marshall Plan, which helped European nations out of an economic depression after World War II. For that, he received the Nobel Peace Prize. He is the only Nobel laureate here at Arlington National Cemetery, and General George C. Marshall is the only 5-star general not to attend the United States Military Academy at West Point. passenger side, you'll see a flagstone plaza with benches. To the left side of that is Section 7A. I want you to look in the back corner of Section 7A near that plaza. You'll see a tall brown marker for World Heavyweight Champion Joe Louis. Heavyweight champion for over 11 years, served in the Army during World War II. Next to Joe Louis, the government marker for Hollywood actor Lee Marvin, stars such movies as The Dirty Dozen, received an Oscar for his performance in Cat Blue, and he was Liberty Valance, and the man who shot Liberty Valance served in the Marines in the Pacific in World War II. We're going by the Tomb of the Unknown. It's going to be on the passenger side of the vehicle. As we go through this area, I'm going to go silent. Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to remove your hats out of respect for the unknown. They are all Medal of Honor recipients. Tomb is guarded 24 hours a day, 300. You'll see a tall black marker. It's going to be 4 rows back for Lieutenant Colonel Lee Archer. Tuskegee Airman, World War II ace. His exploits chronicled on the military channel show Dogfight over the skies of Eastern Europe in October of 1944. Lieutenant Colonel Archer shot down 4 enemy aircraft in only 20 minutes. Now, as we turn, you'll see on this hillside standard markers that all say in memory of. These are memorial markers, also known as cenotaphs. These are markers for those who qualified for burial at Arlington National Cemetery. However, their bodies were never recovered. Their ashes were scattered or they were buried at sea, but they're not here. Coming up on the driver's side in the front row, second from the far right, is a memorial marker with gold lettering. Gold lettering means a Medal of Honor recipient. Paul Ray Smith was the first Medal of Honor recipient in our Gulf War. His request to have his ashes scattered over the Gulf of Mexico, a place he greatly enjoyed fishing. Now, straight up the hill from Paul Ray Smith, you'll see a tall cross with a circle. That's what's called a Presbyterian cross, and that is a memorial marker for Major Archie Butts. He was the military advisor to Presidents Theodore Roosevelt and William Howard Taft. We have a memorial marker for him here because his remains were never recovered from the sinking of the Titanic. Section 35 on the passenger side of the vehicle has Senator and astronaut John Glenn, featured in the book and movie The Right Stuff. Now, as we turn, on the driver's side is going to be the nurses section of Arlington National Cemetery. This is predominantly, but not exclusively, nurses. Oops, that is a comparison horse. The riderless horse with the boots reversed in the stirrups. It is reserved for colonels and above in the United States Army or the United States Marine Corps, because those are the 2 units that have cavalry units. That represents the commander looking back at his troops one last time. That tradition goes back to the days of Genghis Khan. Now, if you look on the driver's side up the hill, you'll see 4 cannons from the Spanish-American War. 2 Spanish cannons have a great patina. They had a range of about 400 yards. Black-painted American cannons had a range of about 15 miles. We fought that war with one arm tied behind our backs. Now, on the driver's side of this section, we have memorials for the Columbia and Challenger space shuttles, one for the Iran hostage mission. Right along the roadway, the last large tree is the only tree with a walkway on all sides of it. Directly behind it is the final resting place of Audie Murphy, the most decorated and enlisted man of all times. Now, this is our stop for the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, Memorial Amphitheater.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? I am Sergeant Drake of the 3rd Infantry Regiment, United States Army. Guard of Honor 2 of the Unknown Soldier. The ceremony that you are about to witness is the changing of the guard. In keeping with the dignity of this ceremony, it is requested that everyone remain silent and stand. Thank you.